Have you ever wondered why, even surrounded by everything the world considers essential for a successful life, so many people feel lost, suffocated, almost invisible to themselves? Imagine for just a moment someone who possesses all the marks of achievement, a dream career, the respect of others, family recognition, the kind of happiness seen in commercials. Now look deeper. Behind that carefully placed smile lies a silent turmoil, a constant restlessness like an echo that repeats night after night. Is this it? What if it is all just a grand stage and I be forgotten the lead role? This scenario may be far more familiar than you care to admit. Society conditions us from an early age to construct our identity around the approval of everyone except ourselves. We are taught that life is a kind of stage where being applauded is worth more than being authentic. Every decision is a risk calculation. What if I disappoint? What if they think I'm strange? What if I don't belong? Slowly, we learn to wear tailor-made masks, shaped not by our own desires, but by the gaze of those around us. And so the original spark that dwells within each of us is gradually smothered by layers of other people's expectations until our essence becomes almost undetectable, even to ourselves. And here lies the cruelest paradox. The more we try to please, the further we drift from what could truly fill us with meaning. Consider this. When was the last time you made an important choice guided solely by your own desire? How many times have you bitten your tongue, stifling your true thoughts, just to avoid the discomfort of someone's judgment? It might seem like just a tiny renunciation here, a silent withdrawal there. But as these concessions pile up, one day you may find yourself living someone else's life in your own skin. The weight of this inauthentic existence is more oppressive than any fleeting rejection could ever be. Amidst this context, thinkers like Michel de Montaigne emerge, men whose lives defied the logic of chasing prestige and negotiated self-worth. While his world spun with wars, disputes, and uncertainty, Montaigne chose seclusion, not as avoidance but as a quest for what is real. He doesn't offer us ready-made answers, but instead presents an invitation to look inward, to distrust imposed certainties, to uncover the true motives behind each of our gestures. His work is an unsettling mirror, demanding the courage to face our own reflections stripped of social ornaments, a necessary shock for inner liberation. At the root of it all is one disturbing question. Where do our ideals of success come from? Are they projected onto us, or are they truly felt? Living life at the mercy of external applause is to be at the mercy of inconstant, fickle judgment that can shift at any moment. In this world, where every minute can be documented, shared, and judged by strangers, the fear of not being enough turns into chronic anxiety. Constant exposure brings an obligation to maintain the perfect image, even while everything inside may be collapsing. It's a subtle but powerful trap. In personal, professional, and even family relationships, we mimic the behavior we think is ideal, often at the cost of our own truth. We smile to keep the peace, compliment when we don't mean it, accept invitations we don't want. We slowly construct a persona that's endlessly adaptable, maybe too much so, a character growing more and more distant from our true self. The danger? One day, the mirror offers up a stranger's face, and the most uncomfortable question appears at your door. Where did my authenticity go? It was in recognizing this dilemma that Montaigne provoked a radical change. Instead of trying to be loved by everyone, what if we learned to feel at home in our own company? It's a winding road. It requires detachment, honesty, and the courage to disappoint, including disappointing ourselves in the illusions we've built. Letting go of the pursuit of pleasing everyone makes room for something rare, a raw acceptance, stripped of the collective's makeup. We begin to choose out of desire, not fear. We learn to live according to what makes sense for us, not what's expected. Practically, that doesn't mean isolation or indifference, but rather a fresh look at priorities. Suddenly, it is possible to discern what is worth real effort and what is a pure waste of energy. That which used to generate anxiety from another's potential judgment is now seen in a softer light. Criticism ceases to hurt as it once did, since our value no longer depends on those who do not understand our personal journey. What others think of us loses its grip over our paths, and there lies one of humanity's purest freedoms. This process of detachment doesn't end at our relationship with society. It extends into our most intimate connections. In many cases, control disguised as care suffocates what could be real, rich relationships. We try to mold others in response to our own insecurities, expecting them to fill voids they don't even know exist. In the end, we echo back a possessiveness that destroys more than it nurtures. True affection, to blossom, needs to be free and light, an invitation, never an obligation. Imagine the weight you carry, forever trying to please those around you. That almost invisible anxiety, the constant pressure to fulfill unsaid expectations, the silent burden in exchange for acceptance. What if, just for a moment, you allowed yourself to let that weight go? What would remain of you without the pressure of other people's eyes? There is a force, almost revolutionary, in learning to walk alone, even in a crowd, motivated by a quiet internal conviction, free from the need to please. Detachment is not an absence of feeling, but the realization that the most valuable love is born from the freedom of choice, in ourselves and in those around us. Bringing this sense of detachment to our relationships, Montaigne reveals in his friendship with Etienne de la Boétie an ideal of connection. A friendship that does not imprison, does not demand reciprocity, and survives simply for the pleasure of companionship, dialogue, and the sharing of one's authentic being. It isn't about attachment, but a lightness that strengthens bonds without suffocating them. The most powerful relationships emerge when we abandon control and possession, making a wager on the marvelous uncertainty of being accepted as we are, and accepting others in their own right. True detachment transforms the pain of control into relief, brings depth to relationships, and quiets the demands of the ego. What at first seems threatening, the risk of loss, of not matching expectations, of rejection, transforms into opportunity. We grow less dependent and paradoxically even more capable of genuine connection. What remains with us once we've let go is what is truly meant to remain. Now turn your attention inward. Is there something you are gripping so tightly that it brings you no pleasure, only exhaustion? A need to control outcomes, to hang on to relationships or images that no longer serve you? Notice how just admitting to this weight can be liberating. And if you allowed yourself to set this part of you down, just for now, what would become possible? Who might you become, and how might your relationships and your view of yourself change? Recognize this. Absolute control, whether over the future or how we are perceived, is an illusion. Trying to govern everything and everyone only breeds anxiety, drains our energy, and never delivers the promised relief. Life is inevitably unpredictable, people are fundamentally unknowable, and circumstances are ever-changing. Only self-knowledge, nurtured by sincere acceptance, equips us to navigate this shifting ground. And it's here that true serenity hides, in accepting the flow, losing the fear of the improbable, trusting more in your own judgment than in the audience's applause. Do this exercise now. Recall an instance when, by letting go of control, you felt a surge of unexpected peace or wholeness. Perhaps a friendship deepened when you stopped demanding reciprocation. Perhaps an important decision, guided by your own will and not what others expected, brought you a previously unknown tranquility. Or maybe the end of a chapter, though painful, cleared the way for new and more authentic experiences. These moments reveal the subtle power of detachment and how it can be revolutionary in our existential journey. This reflection isn't merely theoretical. Your personal history, yes, yours, carries living examples of this tension between the need for approval and the longing for freedom. Sharing them is an invitation to broaden the conversation and to inspire others to rethink their connections, both inner and outer. If you've come this far, that alone is a sign of courage. Facing questions this deep is uncomfortable, but it's the first step towards genuine transformation. So I ask you now, in what area of your life do you most feel the pain of clinging to the gaze of others? And if you could, starting today, initiate a process of letting go, where would you begin? Leave in the comments an experience of your own with detachment, big or small, and how this set real change in motion for you. Your voice might be the spark that helps someone else shed their own invisible chains. If this content resonates with you, and if you're in search of that deeper freedom, share your story, like this video, and subscribe to the channel. The journey of profound existence is a collective one, and each shared reflection brings us closer to a world bound not by imitation, but by the authenticity and courage to be who we truly are. If you allow it, each day can be an invitation to strip away another layer of expectation. Expectations imposed by others, by family, by colleagues, even by versions of yourself that no longer make sense. With each layer that falls away, you may feel exposed at first, vulnerable and raw. But with that vulnerability comes the remarkable possibility of encounter. An encounter with your truest self, and with others who are brave enough to do the same. The journey is not easy. There are days when the temptation to return to the safety of the crowd's applause can be overwhelming. But with time, the allure of being understood, accepted, and desired for what you truly are, not for the persona you present, becomes irresistible. As the days pass, you may notice subtle changes. Conversations become more honest, relationships less transactional, decisions lighter and more joyful. The fear of making mistakes or disappointing others gives way to the satisfaction of living in alignment with your core values. People who are drawn to your authenticity stay, while those who crave the comfort of conformity may drift away, and you realize that's perfectly okay. The relationships that remain are the ones worth nurturing. And so, slowly, life ceases to be a performance and becomes a practice of returning, again and again, to what is most essential, to what remains when all else fades. Your own unique way of being, thinking, feeling, and loving. This is the deepest freedom. Not the absence of challenge, but the quiet certainty that you are walking a path that is genuinely your own. So as you move forward, keep asking, whose approval am I truly seeking? Whose life am I living? Let each of your choices, no matter how small, become a conversation between you and the truest part of yourself. And if, and when, you slip back into old patterns of seeking validation, remember that this is not failure, but part of the ongoing work of self-discovery. Each time you return to yourself, you grow stronger, more resilient, and more free. Join others on this journey. Let your story of letting go, of daring to be authentic, light the path for others walking beside you. The world needs more voices that dare to whisper and then to sing, I am enough, I am whole, I am real. If this message touched you, become part of this community. Like, comment, share your story, and subscribe for more reflections. Together, let's transform invisibility into presence, and presence into a life lived deeply, one courageous step at a time.